Happy with Arsenal?
Well, look, I'm as happy as you can be when we are third in the league, and for the last 10 years, Arsenal have come third or fourth, right, in the league. We have just been kicked out of the Champions League in the last 16, which we have for the last 5 consecutive years. And everyone keeps telling me, isn't it great? We're progressing, we're improving, we're so much better than we were. Are we? Really?
Martin thinks you are.
Does he?
Well, no, I think what you've got...
Martin, do you?
I think that where the anger and disappointment was the start of this season. We go back to them. We've taken on Sanchez and Welbeck. And we thought that was the icing on the cake, because until April this time last year, Arsenal were really in with a fight of winning it. And it was a very difficult start to the season. In fact, it looked like they've rebalanced now and they've come back.
But Martin, there's always excuses, right, at Arsenal. Arsenal fans are brilliant now, as are the media, at finding excuses for Arsene Wenger. What I simply say, in my criticism of Wenger, there's not a top 4 club at any major European team who would have had a manager who's won 1 second-tier trophy, let's be clear, the FA Cup is not what it used to be, in 10 years and still have a job. So my critique of Wenger...
He's not going to change.
Nothing will change until he is changed.
There's no point in even bringing that debate.
Why?
Well, because it's not going to happen.
But why won't it happen?
There's not going to be a change.
But why?
That is how could help to derail the team. He tries to keep a stable ship. And
I don't want a stable ship.
These mini victories. Now...
Martin, you play.
Of course you want.
You play
over there.
You play
a little bit. What do you do?
Because I love Martin Keown. He is absolutely what we lack in this team, in my view. Fighter, warrior.
I think that's coming back into the team.
A little bit, and players like Alexis Sanchez have made a big difference in that area. And yes, we're on a bit of a run at the moment, but statistically, we haven't improved at all. We're exactly where we were. The performance against Monaco was an absolute diabolical shambles. And so to keep finding excuses for a team which simply is not performing at the highest level. I asked these guys at the back, and I'm not going to put you on the spot and say what the answer was, but I said, when we had the great teams, the 2 double-winning teams under Wenger and the Invincibles, 5 or 6 of those teams, each of them, would have walked into any of the top teams in Europe. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich. The Henrys, the Bergkamps, the Pires, the Lundbergs and so on. How many of this Arsenal team, if we're honest, would get into Bayern Munich's first team, Real Madrid's or Barcelona's? Apart from Alexis Sanchez, who was sold by Barcelona, I don't think any of them would. So what we have a good team of players, but how many of them really, if we're honest, are top draw? And to win the 2 big competitions, which the Premier League and the Champions League now are for any supposed big team, and Liverpool are
you've got
to have at least 4 or 5 of those quality players, and I don't see them.
You want good players, but you haven't necessarily got to have the best players. You've got to have the best team. And it's finding the right balance.
You can't have the best team without very good players.
Yeah, but when there's been a difference is, and if you think of myself, maybe Ray Parlour, the sort of ingredient we added to the team, maybe that's disappeared a little bit.
You were there for the fight.
When I see Coquelin, when I see Coquelin...
But he's had the balance for 10 years.
No, but he's now
finding...
He's going back to look forward, really. He's only got to look through his portfolio of games.
Let me ask you, why does the media give... Because people say to me, I think Arsenal fans are split. If you ask them all today, I reckon it'd be half and half on Wenger, right? Why does Wenger get such a free pass in the media? There is not a manager of a Liverpool team, a Manchester United team, a City team, a Chelsea team, who would get 5 years of this kind of record.
It's obvious he created everything you sit in the stadium you're in today.
No, he didn't.
He's helped to put all that together.
Herbert Chapman created
If he'd just
Arsenal.
arrived here now and was the manager and we had 3 or 4 years of non-success, he wouldn't be in a job.
Martin, Arsene Wenger's been a great manager, right? He had an amazing first 8 years, the like of which we've never seen. But Herbert Chapman created Arsenal, actually, if you study the history of the club. George Graham was a brilliant manager for Arsenal, and we will have brilliant managers when Arsene Wenger's no longer here. People say to me, who could replace Arsene Wenger? And I'm like, who could replace a man who's won 1 FA Cup in 10 years with the kind of money that we've had, certainly in the last 4 or 5 years? Right? The answer is a lot of people. So
Fletch, he decides when he goes.
Why?
But you're saying that...
Why does he decide when he goes?
Because he's the creator of his own destiny.
He's not the Pope, for goodness sake. It's not like a big puff of white smoke. His Holiness has decided I'm ready to leave.
Pierce, that's how it's going to be.
That's not how...
You can make as much noise as you want, but ain't going to change at this football club. He runs this football club.
Well, you see, what you've hit the nail on the head with that statement is what the reality is. Arsene Wenger is the emperor of this stadium and this club, and people do not think there's any way of him leaving. leaving. And I simply say, why is that debate not being had more intelligently and vociferously by the body of fans here? Do they want to keep coming third or fourth?
What Piers says there, when you listen to Piers, and you know, he is very passionate. I hear people saying, you're not passionate or a real fan. You are a real fan of football club. I think what he says is good. When you think about who can replace Wenger, Wenger's only won the FA Cup in 10 years. So a lot of managers could do that at this football club.
Yeah.
Who'd not want to come in?
Very much so. But then...
I passed Harry Redknapp on the way out. You don't think he can win an FA Cup with the kind of money that Arsenal have had?
But
in this stadium with the fans we have?
Arsenal are right now to go and win a trophy, but they've come through a situation of, you know, take massive borrowings here to do what they did. They couldn't compete for the top players. They could have speculated a little bit more. They were very safe in their money management, the way they've done it. It's a very sound business club now.
We're not a bank, Martin.
We're not.
We're not a bank.
It's there to take off.
I don't care about balancing books.
And I think
I care about being competitive.
I think Arsene Wenger really coming through that deserves the chance to take this club on now and to finish the job off.
He's had 10 years.
But he's come through like it's a very different Arsenal.
I don't want to criticise Martin Keown, because your loyalty to this club is the like of which you will rarely encounter, right? He bleeds for Arsenal. But nobody can tell me that if you got this guy in a bar and had a pint and said to him, are you happy with what's been going on here for the last 10 years?
Is it more where the manager...
We got Jason McAteer on the shoulder.
Thank you.
Hi, Jason.
He's been frightened to death for the last 5 minutes.
The thing with Arsenal is you
what
know
do you think? Be honest.
I think it's time maybe for Arsene Wenger to go and it be freshen up here. I think because you know what you're getting year in, year out. They're never going to win the Champions League. They're going to challenge possibly for the Premier League. They're going to be there or thereabouts at the end of the season. But what you're going to get is your financial structure, like you said, the business plan. It's going to run out the same every year. So they're happy with what the club's doing. So why do they want to change it? It's a risk, isn't it?
They don't want change.
But at the end of the day, you've got to give your fans success, which is trophies.
I think the only thing I see as a form of watching it, you know, there just needs to be a little bit more drive. I think Arsenal, they can go a goal behind and then they switch on. I want them to run games from the start.
That's been 10 years, though.
Yep. No, it's
risk.
But we're now with third or fourth set of players here. You look at the players that were there 10 years ago. It's a completely different group.
Yeah, but honestly, Martin, is this team really any better than the team when we had?
I think it's very close.
Wait a minute. Then when we had Van Persie, Nasri, Song, and Fabregas, all of whom we shipped out within 2 years. So we have had reasonably good teams, certainly at this level, probably slightly higher than this level in the last 10 years. But we went through a period of... I lost it with Wenger, I'll be honest with you. When we sold Robin Van Persie to Manchester United, right? When we sold our club captain to our big rivals of the last 20 years, when we did that and they won the league and he was the top scorer, I wanted to be physically sick. Van Persie sent me a double-sided framed picture of himself kissing the Premier League, right? Dear Piers, it was Dear Tears of Piersy, right? Thank you for all your support in the season, right? I wanted to smash it against a wall. And Wenger caused that. He took a call personally from Alex Ferguson. I want to buy Van Persie, and did the deal with him on the phone. Can you imagine the other way round? Because in the 10-year period that we won one FA Cup, Alex Ferguson won 10 trophies in that last 10 years of his tenure, right? Don't forget that, when they went through stadium restructuring as well. But can you imagine, let me finish. Can you imagine the following conversation? Hello, Alex, it is Arsene here. I would like to buy Wayne Rooney. Boom! Which is why Arsene Wenger has won one FA Cup in 10 years, and why Alex Ferguson in his last 10 years, including his last season, was a massive trophy.
He allowed the boy to go because he wanted the player.
You don't allow the boy to go. You put him in the bloody reserve.
He couldn't give him what he wanted at this particular club.
Which was trophies.
And he wanted to go, and he didn't want an unhappy player at the football
club. But Rodgers let Sterling go then.
That's it.
What?
That's the end.
So Rodgers won't let Sterling go, though.
We got no more time.
Really?
We hardly said a word.
Drop something. We'll be back.
I declare myself the winner.